So today I'm going to be making sweet potato and peanut butter curry. This is a really good thing to use up any leftovers as well, and can use a lot of different staple, you can adapt in a lot of ways. You could add in some chicken if you want, or some vegetarian corn. We usually add corn to it as well. You can add any vegetables that you've got. Go and use normal potatoes instead of sweet potatoes if you like. So you're going to need some ginger. So for this, you can use a range of different vegetables. For the base, I'm going to use, I haven't got any garlics or any onions, so I'm not going to use that. But if you do have garlic and onion, you can use garlic and onion, obviously. I'm going to use some fresh ginger, some chilies. These are kept in the freezer, so I can just get them out of the freezer and grate them straight from the freezer, and then put back in what I don't need. Also, for the flavours, I'm going to use some ground turmeric, some coriander, and some cumin. Now, for a cheat, instead of using these and your chilies, if you have a jar of red Thai sauce or green Thai curry sauce, you can use that instead and use a couple of tablespoons of that. I've also got some peppers, so I'm going to use some peppers, some sweet potato. I've got some frozen spinach, which I'm going to add as well to it. Sometimes I add broccoli if I've got any broccoli, or aubergine or courgette. I'm going to add a tin of tin tomato. I've got some dried chickpeas that I have soaked overnight as well, which I'm going to add to it. Again, you can change this and use any kind of beans you've got in your cupboard, tinned beans, or you can just not have tinned beans if you don't want. Crunchy peanut butter. I'm going to add some of this. And coconut milk. Now, I've got a tin of coconut milk, but usually I use coconut powder. So this stuff is amazing. You can buy like a kilogram off Amazon, and it's not very much money, and it will last for ages, whereas these are quite expensive. And you just need 2 tablespoons with about 400 mils of water to make similar to coconut milk. So it is definitely worth buying. Okay, so first things first, obviously wash all your vegetables. I've done that. I'm going to chop up my sweet potato. Now with my sweet potato, I always leave the skin on, as I think this is better for you and has more nutrition, and also because I can't really be bothered to peel it. So with my sweet potato, I'm going to chop them up into cubes, about that big, about 2 centimetres by 2 centimetres. Sweet potatoes, I'm going to make bulk cook this, so then I can freeze it as well and get it out in portions when I need it. It freezes really well. So for a normal recipe for about 4 people, you'd probably want to use between 2 big sized potatoes or 3 medium sweet potatoes. Okay, so in here I've actually got 6 medium sized sweet potatoes in here, but I'm going to double the recipe. So this would probably feed about 8 to 10 people, this amount of recipe. Okay, so top tip for your ginger, if you're using fresh ginger, use a spoon to peel off the skin, and then that means less waste. So you just use the back of your spoon, the side of your spoon even, and you just use it to peel off the skin, cut it off, because it's quite a knobbly little creature. So you don't want to cut it, as you will lose a lot of the ginger. For this one, I'm going to use a piece as big as my middle finger to put in my recipe. Now I like it gingery. I love ginger. I put ginger in everything. I have a lot of ginger in ginger smoothies. So I'm going to go that size, as you can see. So I'm going to go that size of ginger. Peel off the skin. You can either dice it really small, you can grate it. I'm going to chop it really small. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grate the chili. So this is frozen, so I've just taken it straight out of the freezer. As you can see, I have a tiny cute little grater. This was my grandma's nutmeg grater, which I use a lot. And I'm just going to grate the frozen chili on a small section, like this. The main thing to remember after working with chili is wash your hands. Chili hurts if you get it anywhere, so make sure you wash your hands. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is preparing in my vegetables. With a pepper, I usually cut it in half, and then I literally just peel the pith and the bit out the top, and then give it a tap to get rid of any seed. I'm going to chop it into about 2 centimetres by 2 centimetre chunks, about that. So If you have any other vegetables that you can add, go ahead and add them. This is all I've really got. I've run out. I need to go to the shop. I've got some old spinach that I had frozen, as I wasn't going to use before the end. I prefer fresh spinach and freezing it myself rather than the already half cooked, which you get in the supermarket frozen. So I think this has a nicer taste. Peas, you can add peas, anything you've got. So another thing that I would say, these are dried chickpeas. So you buy them in a bag near the lentil aisle, near the rice aisle usually. And these are so much cheaper than buying tinned chickpeas, and you just soak them overnight the night before. So these I just put in some water the night before. They also have a fresher, kind of crunchier taste to them as well if you buy them dried and then soaked them. Okay, so once I've got everything ready, I'm just going to open my tin of tomatoes. So for this recipe, if you're making it for 4 to 6 people, you just need 1 tin. Chopped tomatoes, plum tomatoes, fine, whatever you can get your hands on at the moment. If you can't get your hands on any chopped tomatoes, then you can just use tomatoes. A handful of chopped tomatoes as well will work. Just don't have a jar of Thai sauce. You can add different seasonings to it as well. So I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of turmeric. I'm going to get it on my chopping board ready. So 2 teaspoons. If you're doing a taste of turmeric, lessen it as well. It's up to you. I like the colour and I like the taste. I'm going to add a teaspoon of coriander. A teaspoon of cumin. I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil. Now, if you have rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil, you can use whichever. I've got olive oil, so I'm using a tablespoon of olive oil. Now, if you had onions, this is where you would saute the onions, but as I don't have any onions or garlic in the house, I'm not going to, so I'm just going to let this warm, and then I'm going to add my spices for 2 minutes. If you had onions or garlic, you would add this for about 5 minutes just to soften. So, first thing you're going to do is, once your oil is hot, you're going to add your spices just to cook them up and get them going. So I'm going to add in my spices here. I do have quite a small pan, so I might need to upgrade. So I've got enough for a double amount, so I've got enough to feed about 10 people because I'm going to stock up my freezer with this. Okay, so once that's been in there for a couple of minutes, you can smell the flavours coming out and it smells amazing. My ginger, I'm going to add a tin of tomato. Also with your tin of tomatoes, you're going to add about this much water, so it's 400 mils of water. So just fill up your can with water. I'm going to add my sweet potato. Once I've got my sweet potatoes, my tomato, my spices, and then if you wanted to add, if you had your chili paste, obviously add that before your potatoes. And I've also got 400 mils of water. Okay, next I'm going to add the peanut butter. This is the main important bit of the whole event. So I'm going to add 2 heaped tablespoons of peanut butter to this. So you can see this. If you want smooth, you can use smooth. Any peanut butter will work. It just adds a really nice nutty flavour which complements the spiciness from the chilies. Then to this I'm going to add my tin of coconut as well. Again, you can use coconut powder. I would normally use coconut powder as it's much cheaper and goes a lot further. I'm going to mix this and I'm just going to let this simmer, so little tiny bubbles, and I'm going to let this simmer for 10 minutes. Just to get my sweet potatoes to soften up before I start adding any of my vegetables. Okay, so my sweet potatoes have been in for about 10 to 15 minutes, just on a low simmer to start to soften them. I've also added my peppers, and along with that, if you were going to add any protein like chicken or corn, I always have corn pieces in the freezer. And this is going to cook for another 10 minutes with my peppers and my corn, and then I'm going to add my other vegetables after that. On another note, another good thing with this as well, if you don't want to add the corn now or the meat now, you don't have to. You can make this dish as a purely vegetarian dish. Serve it with your side of chicken, or you can add some tofu or some corn whenever you're reheating it. It stores really well in the freezer and the fridge and can be reheated easily. This is another staple in the Kirk household. If you want to make it more spicy, just add more chilies, add more flavours. But I like the red chili flavour with the peanutty flavour. So in here you can see I've added chickpeas, spinach. I found a handful of leftover kale in the fridge that I've used. Not broccoli in, as I love peanut butter and Thai and broccoli. I think they're really good flavors together, but I don't have any. So I'm just gonna mix this and I'm gonna leave this for about 5 to 8 minutes and then it's done.